Hi everyone, welcome to Grow Roots. This is Shannon and thank you for joining me today. I will be taking you on a container garden tour through 60 plus containers all throughout my front gardens and my back gardens. So I live in a very small space here in North Texas on the border of zone 8A and 8B, and I live in your typical suburban neighborhood, which means I have a fairly small front garden and then I have small backyard garden spaces. And of course, I want to plant all of the plants and enjoy them. And so how I maximize my garden spaces is I just simply plant the plants that I want to grow in containers. And this year I have more than 60 containers. Yes, that's right. I'm slightly addicted, but I love them so much. And I think you will too. I'm so excited to share all of the containers that I have created this year. And I can't wait to show it to all of you. So I will start right here on my front porch. This is right outside of my front door. I have a 3-tier planter and it's just looking so fabulous. Let me back up so y'all can see this. Oh my goodness. I just love this 3-tier planter. I got it off of a neighbor who was selling it. And so I just really lucked out, and you can't even really see the 3-tier planter anymore because the plants have already grown in so well. So starting up here at the top, this is a canary wing begonia, and this was actually from last year, and I overwintered it. You guys, this thing was so incredibly tough. I didn't have my heart set on saving it this year. I left it out for a majority of our winter. We did have a mild winter, but we did have multiple hard freezes that it took like a champ. It didn't really die back at all. I had another one that did, but this one survived. And then when we had our ice storm in January, mid-January was our ice storm, I did take it in for that. We had temperatures that went down to 10 degrees. And so I did take it in for that. But afterwards, 5 days later, it was right back out, and it still had multiple freezes that it withstood. And now here it is. It's just so glorious. And when the wind blows, all of those little petals blow, and they are just fabulous. I ended up having to repot it into a bigger pot. The pot it was in was just constantly tipping over because it was so big. So just amazing, an amazing plant, canary wing begonia. And this was just a bitty baby plant from Callaway's when I purchased it in the spring of last year. And then this down here is foxtail fern. It is doing quite well and really getting big. I have a Gerbera daisy under here, and this is getting more shade than I thought. It does get the sun comes up right behind me, so the sun comes right in this direction. It does get some direct sun in the morning, and then the rest of the day it is shaded, especially since it has this begonia over it. But it's doing pretty well. Probably not the best location for a Gerbera daisy. It's reaching for the sun. They do need a little more sun than what that's getting, and I might think about doing that. This is a Kalanchoe, beautiful hot pink one, and it's doing pretty well. This one was given to me in the fall, and then I did bring it in for the winter and then brought it back out, and it's doing pretty well. And then coming down here, I have a Carex. This Carex, I always forget the name. Evercolor Everoro Carex, and these actually could be planted in the ground, but I've decided that it looks so lovely there that I'm just going to be keeping it in that pot. I increased the size of the pot this spring, so it has more room to grow bigger. It still has some growth from the winter. I should have trimmed this down after, in late winter. I should have done that, and I didn't, and now that's why you're seeing some of these things are dry or looking dry. They're just, that's the winter burn. Right here is a heuchera, and it is blooming, and it is so pretty, or corals as they're often called. And then there's a little new growth right there. It's a really lovely heuchera, and it does well there. And then this fern is also doing real well. I believe this fern was called leatherleaf fern. I got it on clearance you know, in the late winter of 2025, so more than a year ago. And I did bring that one in for the entire winter because it does not withstand freeze. And I brought it back out in the spring. It's looking beautiful. And then this lovely thing. Oh, Stacy, my friend, gave this little hosta to me. It's just the cutest little tiny hostas. My hostas in the backyard are very big. I'll actually show them to you because they are in containers. But this one is just a very little leaf version of the hosta. And then it's planted with some variegated liriopes. She gave these to me out of her garden. And I planned on planting them in the landscape, placed them there, and just decided they looked awesome there and did very well there. So there they are. And then here is another foxtail fern that's doing pretty good right there as well. So love that 3-tier planter. As we come around this corner though, here is one of the highlights of my entire garden spaces. These are my hydrangeas that are in large pots. This one right here is one of my favorite plants. It is a variegated lace cap hydrangea, and goodness gracious, it's full of buds. They're not really in bloom. This one's almost there, you guys. Look at that. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I'm so excited to see this thing in full bloom. This will be the biggest bloom that it's ever had. I have found variegated lace cap hydrangeas to be very, to take their time in wanting to flower for you. It took 5 years of me getting this guy from a little guy, 5 years before it actually bloomed. And last year was the first year it bloomed. This year's the second year it's going to bloom. And this year it's really super full. Super full of buds. So I'm so excited for that. But looking at this plant, even if it didn't bloom, it's just magnificent. I love the leaf shape. I love the leaf colors. They're full of like these creams and greens, and it's just, oh, it's spectacular to me. I love variegated foliage, but particularly this one is my favorite variegated foliage plant. And next to it is my Hydrangea macrophylla. This is an endless summer hydrangea, and it is beginning to bloom. Not completely in bloom quite yet, but most of the buds. We've got more coming. This one's actually somewhat blue. I've hit it with soil acidifier a couple of times. And then finally that second round of soil acidifier, I think like a week ago, finally caused these guys to start turning a little bit blue. But it did take a lot of soil acidifier this year, more than usual. Oh, I just had a spider web. Look at that little spider that I bothered. Oh well, you can get back at it, Mr. Spider. But here's the pink blooms. This one's pretty good, and then this one is almost as big as my hand. It's lovely. I just love hydrangeas. Many people have a hard time growing hydrangeas here in North Texas because of our heat and because of our humidity. It can be difficult, but I am telling you, it can be done. I have a video all about that, how to care for hydrangeas in our very hot North Texas climate. There are certain things that you can do to make sure that they get what they need, and then when you give them what they need, they thrive, just like this one is. It's just doing spectacular, and so is the lace cap hydrangea that's next to it. So I just absolutely love these. This plant, if you're curious, has been in this container since I got it in 2011. It is the oldest plant that I have. I've kept it alive for this long. Woohoo! But 15 years, you guys. And I repotted it this past fall, which is a perfect time for repotting if you're going to do that. I gave it all new soil. I trimmed back a lot, put it back in, and it loved life after that. So anyway, it's a happy plant right now. And then coming over here, I have more porch plants to show you. Let me show you this one. This is actually a tiered container. So there is a container under there somewhere, and it is full of English ivy, variegated English ivy. I love English ivy in containers because it is evergreen for us here in North Texas, and it's super strong. Just have to be careful of those little runners coming out and trying to root themselves in your garden, because they will take over. As you can see, it's taken over this pot for sure. And then I have a plant stand in here, and you can actually see the pot that's in the plant stand. And inside the pot, I have a beautiful, what are they? Polka dot begonias, angel wing begonias. I had gotten this as a cutting, and then I, took cuttings of that plant and put them in this pot just in the spring, and it's doing really, really, really good. They root really, really easily, and so I just popped the cutting right straight into the soil, and it just continued to grow. I also have Tradescantia zebrina, which last year this was just full of Tradescantia zebrina. It did not overwinter very well at all this year, because I overwintered it in my home, but it did not like it. And so it's just I took cuttings of that, of what was left, the healthy parts that was left. I took those cuttings, again, popped those in the soil, and they're taking off. They're doing really well. They love this spot. They really do. And then the other thing I have going in here, and, it's struggling just a teeny bit, but when I up potted that canary wing begonia that I just showed you, and pieces of it fell off. And so I just stuck them into soil, those pieces, and I think I'm gonna get them to take off. I think they're gonna make it. So that will be really lovely if they do. That whole thing, I just love that combination. The bright green kind of contrasts against the purples really well, and I think the red contrasts against the purples really well. I don't know, we'll see, but I do like it so far. So coming over here, I have more variegated English ivy in like a topiary kind of shape, like a pyramid shape. And again, it's evergreen, so it's lovely in the wintertime. And next to it is my azalea. I do believe this is an Encore, let me see. It is Encore Autumn Sunset Azalea that I got from Home Depot a couple years ago. And it's out of bloom now. It just finished its bloom, and it was really, really lovely. And then underplanted is variegated Vinca. And so that looks really, really beautiful. If you can't tell, I love variegated plants. And so that underplanting I think is gorgeous. And then, oh, I love this sweet container. I just got a purple alyssum, which now is kind of turning more white, interestingly enough, but it was purple when I bought it. And then I bought a white alyssum, sweet alyssum. I just put one little plant here, one little plant there. I got a little dianthus here and another one on this side, and then they all just started growing in together, and they look lovely together. I love that combination. And then this pot is striking. This is not an accident, but I purchased a Celosia Dracula Red. I bought this at H-E-B around Halloween time, because this was such a remarkable looking plant. It was so striking. This purple foliage, and then it had a red bloom that looked like a giant brain coral, which was perfect for Halloween. And so I had that here this fall, and obviously they reseed themselves very, very well. I had seedlings come up all over the place in this pot. It's honestly only 4 seedlings. No, I think it's maybe 6 seedlings that I kept. I kind of thinned them out because there were so many of them, and then here they are now. It's just remarkable. The seedlings themselves started coming up when we were still having freezes, so the seedlings outlasted the freezes. Believe it or not, Celosia does not like cool weather, but those seedlings were very, very tough. They came up anyway. They continued to grow, and now I'm looking at this lovely container that I had nothing to do with. The plant just kind of reseeded itself, and there we go. I do think this one is forming a bloom. I felt something kind of hard in there that felt like it was forming a bloom. So that's going to be so lovely when it blooms. But even if not, again, that foliage is so striking that I'm totally fine with it, even if I don't see those blooms, which I know I will. And then coming next to that is another container. This container is just another, I think, really lovely one. It's just starting to fill in, but I have Creeping Jenny in here. That was actually from last year. It was in this container for an entire year. And then I have, this is one of the prettiest zinnias I've ever grown, you guys. This is Double Zahara. I think it's pink salmon. Oh, just Double Zahara salmon. It's a dwarf variety of zinnia, and I have grown Zahara varieties before, but none as striking as this in my opinion. When they first come out, there's some of them that have this more yellowish color like this that you see back there. It's more peachish yellowish. And then as it ages, it gets darker pink. And so this one, these are all a little bit older, except this one. No, this is a newer bloom because not all the petals are out, but it's a darker pink. It's just striking, you guys. I love it. That's probably one of my favorite zinnias I've ever grown. And then growing next to it, this is a Verbena Sweetheart Kisses that I grew from seed as well. And I really love, I grew two different types of, these are like annual verbenas that I grew from seed. This is my favorite of the two. And the reason is because this foliage is really beautiful. It's not struggling in any way. My other verbena is Verbena Florist Mix, and you'll see it in my backyard. Just hang tight. But the leaves on those have struggled so much. There's some kind of bug, something is attracted to it, and the foliage isn't looking the best, and the blooms aren't as striking in my opinion, but that's just a beautiful bloom. And we got all kinds more. I have another one planted on that side as well, so it seems to be like kind of a trailing type of verbena as well, but I'm loving how that container is looking. And then this container is my succulent container. So last year, I planted 4 types of succulents, ice plant, dew plant, portulaca, and purslane. And the one that survived all through the wintertime was the ice plant. And one of you had told me this. It is hardy down to, gosh, I don't remember, zone 6 or something like that, zone 6, zone 7. So it overwintered just beautifully. It has bloomed. I don't have a current bloom on it, but here is one that's about to open. And then all throughout, I think I have purslane or portulaca seedlings coming up. So those are coming up. And then these two things are new succulents that I have grown from seed. It is called Louisia. And this Louisia is supposed to be, I think it's called red, but honestly, it's more pink. They are struggling. They are very, very, very slow growing. I'm keeping this container only to succulents. They have a very small drip. They don't get watered very much at all. That's on purpose. The Louisia doesn't like it. I think even the rain that we've gotten this April is too much for it. But I do have a container of Louisia in my backyard, and it gave me its first bloom yesterday. So I can't wait to show that to you. But I hope that these end up blooming and going okay. I just really don't know. They are so slow to grow. But that's my succulent container. And then inside my front garden, this is what I'm calling my Proven Winners Annuals container. So in the spring, I purchased 5 Proven Winners Annuals, and we are actually down to, I think, only 2 surviving at this point, unfortunately. Let's see. Well, okay, no, 3 have survived. You're only seeing 2 blooming at the moment. So the one that has taken over, the one that has won the golden prize of the hour is this one, and it is Lobelia Sky Blue by Proven Winners. And wow, it has just overtaken the entire container. This is only one plant, and it overtook the Supertunias. Yes, it overtook Supertunias. Supertunias are supposed to take over all of the other plants, but instead, this is what happened. I actually had sudden plant death with both of my Supertunias that I planted in here. I had Supertunia Bermuda Beach and Supertunia Honey, and neither one of them have survived. They were fine one day and dead the next, and I am done with Supertunias. Here in North Texas, there's something about us, our climate, our conditions, I don't know. There's something here that kills the Supertunias. Very, very, very few people have been able to get Supertunias to survive here in the specific area that I am north of Dallas. And I think we've chalked it up to humidity at this point because, I don't know, like, we haven't been so hot, so they shouldn't have died. We thought it was due to heat. Now we know it's not due to heat. It's something else that is overtaking the Supertunias, and I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's frustrating. But this lovely plant that you see here is Waikiki Sunset. It is a Lizomachia congestiflora. So Lizomachia is the family of plants that Creeping Jenny is in, but this is just a different like variety of Lizomachia, and they flower these lovely yellow flowers, and this is actually supposed to be hardy down to zone 7, so it should survive the winter. I had thought about taking this out at one point because I thought everything else was going to overtake it, but it hasn't been bothered whatsoever by the lobelia to overtaking it. It was just like, oh, no problem, I'll just continue to do what I'm doing, like no matter if I'm covered up or not, and it's gorgeous. There is one other plant that is still alive in here. It's just not blooming at the moment. It is a Nemesia, Sunsatia Blood Orange. Let me see if I can find the plant tag that has it. Here it is. Here's what it looks like, and it is gorgeous. These red, orange, yellow blooms. It's a Nemesia hybrid, and it's fabulous, really. It's a lovely plant. It's just not in bloom right now. Anyway, that is a container within my front garden that has been designated my Proven Winners Annuals container. I have another container that is within this little square garden, and it features a Carolina Sapphire Cypress topiary. It's a 3-ball topiary, and it looks lovely there. Carolina Sapphire Cypress is lovely here in North Texas. It is native to, I think, Arizona deserts, but it is well adapted to being hot, well adapted to being dry, but it can also adapt to being very moist. And so sometimes that container tends to get slightly overwatered. It's not a problem for it at all. It actually likes the water and grows well in the water, but it can take the drought. So it's such a remarkable plant, and it's evergreen. So what a beautiful pop of evergreen interest that will stay like that all winter long. I just love it. And then planted underneath it is what's called Creeping Zinnia. Creeping Zinnia is actually not a zinnia at all. It is it's called like a dwarf sunflower by many, but it's so cute. The scientific name of this is Sanvitalia procumbens, and I grew this from seed. I found the seeds at outsidepride.com. I got a few packets of seeds there, and these have just done remarkable. It is a lovely container plant, you guys, and it just is starting to trail, has these lovely little yellow flowers, and I think it mixes with this blue-green foliage really well as well. So it's just doing very well. So Creeping Zinnia, that's one that I will probably continue to grow from seed every year. I really like that, and I'm interested to see how it intermixes with other plants that I'll probably try next year. And then this will conclude the front garden, but you guys, I have 40 more containers in my backyard, so please bear with me. But these are my, I call these curbside containers. I think that they just add to the curb appeal of my home so nicely. But this year I have chosen Scaevola. This is a variety. It says it's a blue Scaevola, but really it's more purple, such as it is in the plant world these days. But intermixing within the Scaevola this is a lantana, and it's doing really well. I think it's Bloomify, like Peach Magic or something like that, but it's really lovely. And then I have zinnias that I have grown from seed. This one is Profusion Double Hot Cherry, which this is again one of my favorite varieties of zinnia, period. It is a dwarf variety, and I love this striking hot pink foliage. And then this is I got these seeds like mixed, so I don't know if it is a pinwheel zinnia or a Zahara zinnia, but last year I grew a bunch of Zaharas and pinwheels, like mixed colors, and so that's what these orange ones are. I think I even have a white one. Yep, there is a white one in here as well. So all of these colors, this is a rainbow color year for me. I'm growing all of the colors all together. I just love that. They are striking together, and they are all doing really well. My other container is exactly the same, Scaevola, all along the outside, which should eventually trail down the sides, and then Double Hot Cherry Profusion zinnias, which are here. And then Wow, that scavola is really taking over. And then I've got these Zaharas, which, where did my Zaharas go? I had more than just one in here for sure. They seem to be kind of being taken over by that scavola, don't they? Anyway, and then the lantana is still in the middle here as well. So everything's kind of playing together. Look at the scavola with the lantana. Oh my goodness, I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right, so this concludes my container garden tour for the front yard, but hang with me, the best of the best is in my backyard. I have 40 more containers, so let's go back there. Okay, so here we are in my backyard. This is my back patio, and because I have such a large back patio, I can grow a lot more plants than just what I could fit here in my garden spaces. And so here's a brief look at all of these containers. This is Chloe. She is my backyard garden cat. She chose us, and we feed her and provide her shelter and things, but she just stays back here, and she's so sweet. She's on almost every one of my backyard garden tours, trying to fight for some attention. But back to plants, there's a broad overview of all of the containers that I have, and I also have some that are dotted inside all of my garden spaces. So I'm going to show those to you in a moment, but let me show like a majority of them that are right here on my backyard patio to you. So this first one has a lovely trellis in it. I have 3 different trellises, like there's one in the center right there, and then there's another pot on the other side that has another trellis inside of it. I picked those up on Facebook Marketplace, and it was $5 for the set of 3, you guys. I just think they look really, really lovely all there together, but I just like them. They're not necessary for what I have planted here, but they do look lovely in my opinion. But in these planters, I have more lantana. This one is Dallas Red Lantana, and it's doing quite well. Look at all of the buds that are coming up there. This larkspur is actually not planted here. It's inside my garden, but kind of, it looks like it's planted right alongside of this container, and I think it's so lovely. But growing with the lantana, I actually have, this is a new zinnia that I am, well, new to me that I'm growing this year. This is Double Zahara Brilliant zinnia, and these are supposed to be double Zaharas. This one so far is not a double necessarily. The yellow variety is a double, so you can see like this one, this is what the double series is supposed to look like. I believe I purchased these from Eden Brothers, and so far the orange variety is not double, and the pink variety, this is a mix, you know, double Zahara mix, but so far yeah, they are not exactly double, so I'm a little disappointed in that sense, except they are gorgeous, so I'm still not complaining. I just kind of wished all of the colors had these double petals like it was advertised to be. So I may leave that as feedback for Eden Brothers. But I also have, this is the Verbena Florist mix that I told you guys about. And this is what I mean with these leaves. I definitely think I've got some like beetle type things that are eating the leaves, and I even think I have something that's eating the flowers of them, because I'll get these little buds and then 2 days later these buds seem to be like eaten away by something. I don't know, but I don't prefer the leaves of these. I prefer the leaves of the Verbena Sweetheart Kisses a lot more, but those are still absolutely beautiful blooms. I love Verbena in the sense that I think they add great texture and complement to other flowers that they grow with, and I feel like you could grow them with anything, but that pot is just stunning over there. So, you know, that's another Verbena, and then I just have those Double Zahara Brilliant mixed colors all around there as well. I love it. So you are going to see a little bit of containers. These are still my winter sown containers that haven't been planted out yet. This is Buddy Purple Gombrina, and it's actually about to be planted in my front garden to replace the pansies very, very, very soon in the next few days. I have a double perfusion double hot cherry profusion zinnia. Just one is left after planting. Again, I grew these from the seeds that I had collected last year, and it has worked out really well for me. You know, when you buy these zinnia seeds and then you save the seeds of these hybrids, like this double hot cherry profusion hybrid, you don't know if the seed that is saved is going to be true to the original color, to the original flower type. And so I was really curious to see what these seeds turned out to be, and they're true to the original plant. So I'm really happy about that. But anyway, if you see these plantings in front, I'll try and talk about them a little bit, but they're still the plants that I have left over from my winter sowing experience, which was amazing this year. Winter sowing is absolutely the way to go. I highly recommend it. I do have a lot of videos about that, a whole playlist, and I'm going to pop that for you if you want to see how I grew all of these things. But anyway, here is my herb planter. So this is oregano that I winter sowed, looking fabulous. This is the oregano that I bought last year. And yeah, they are pretty much almost the same. I don't know why I grew more. It just because I had the seeds and I wanted to grow more. And I love the smell of oregano. I have a little bit of apple mint coming in here. And I have parsley over there. We'll see. It's not getting a whole lot of sun because the oregano is taking over. But it really is gorgeous. I absolutely love the look of this plant. Really. And then here is a container that I just potted up yesterday. Kind of like, what am I going to do with all these leftover plants that I winter sowed? Let's put them in a container together, right? So the first plant that I have here this is Veronica. I bought a Veronica for my shed garden, which is right over there. The Veronica is right here, and it's actually getting ready to flower. I saved the seeds from it last year, and this is what I grew from the seeds. And again, there's some kind of beetle that's definitely eating this leaf, but it's still doing pretty well, and I wanted to save it. I don't have space in my garden for it right now, but I am growing it in a pot. Number one, because you can grow perennials in a pot. They do pretty well, most of them. And then number two, when you do that, who knows what's going to die this year? I'm just going to be frank. We all have like our failures and successes, right? And so if something fails in the garden and dies, then it creates more space for something like this. So I like to save my perennials when I can, or grow new perennials from seed just to replace the ones that may die. Who knows? This is kind of the same. This is Echinacea powwow. I winter sowed this from seeds that I had saved from that Echinacea powwow that's about to flower over there in my garden. And so winter sowing the seeds, here's the Echinacea powwow. And again, if I have something that fails, I can pop that in next year, and it'll be just as happy in this container as long as I can keep it watered. And then I just had some extras of regular Zahara zinnias, and I thought that orange color would be great along with the purple that will be the Veronica, and then along with the pink that will be this Echinacea or coneflower powwow variety. So I think that's going to be absolutely lovely. This container, I am so incredibly happy with how this container has turned out so far. This is dwarf cosmos. I think it's like dwarf fairy cosmos, something like that. They are absolutely gorgeous and reblooming and reblooming and reblooming. They are just looking so lovely. And then planted along with them, oh wow, that's more of them. That's more of the cosmos. I'm like, what's cosmos and what's everything else? Okay, this is Verbena Sweetheart Kisses, so much the same as what I have in my front. This is Buddy Purple Gomphrena, which I will also be planting in my front garden, but I popped some extra ones in here. And there's some more Buddy Purple Gomphrena, and there's some more Verbena Sweetheart Kisses there too. You almost can't tell the difference between the Verbena Sweetheart Kisses leaves, which are these, and the cosmos leaves. So that's kind of interesting. I didn't really foresee that, but I just love the way this pot is turning out. And if you're curious, this is Chippendale zinnias. I'm going to be giving these away. This is the second time I've grown them, the second chance I've given them. I do not love the growth habit of these. They are floppy, floppy, floppy. And they were, you know, given a pinch when they first came up, but they're still floppy. I do love the yellows and the oranges and the reds. It's just, I'm not going to put those in my garden or in a pot. I'm going to give them away to somebody who might want them. Just don't love the growing habit of that particular type of zinnia. And then these are State Fair zinnias that I have. So these are really pretty. I was going to try and find a spot for them. I just still haven't. And then these leaves are, I don't know what's going on with this plant, but not everything is a full success. So, although I have to say this State Fair zinnia is looking a little bit better, this red variety, but I'll find a spot somewhere. And then this is my Gomphrena globosa. It's still in its winter sowing container. It's way past time, but it's so pretty. You guys, Gomphrena is such a tough annual. I highly recommend it for your in the ground, you know, landscape gardening or container gardening, because they are rock star, super heat loving, drought tolerant plants. But anyway, I'm gonna plant some of these in my front garden again, you know, in the next few days. So they're just hanging tight while that happens. Let me move these out of the way so I can show you this arrangement. It is gorgeous. It's not 100% what I envisioned, because this first plant that I'm going to show you, it just doesn't really bloom very well. I'm actually quite surprised. This is Proven Winners Super Bina Cobalt. You can see that right there. This is what it's supposed to look like. Flowers, flowers, flowers everywhere. And it's literally giving me one flower at a time. It does look like it's going to come into pretty good bloom here pretty soon, but right now it doesn't have anything blooming, and that's kind of how it's been since I planted it about 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's a little disappointing so far, but it looks like it's coming to a pretty good start. I see lots of buds, so it will be in bloom at some point, and that color will contrast beautifully with this Proven Winners Super Tunia Hoopla Vivid Orchid. I really do absolutely love this flower. I hope that I can get it to survive all season long, although I'm quite doubtful, because I've told y'all how I feel about Super Tunias and here in North Texas not being able to grow them. But these Super Tunias were bought at the same time as Bermuda Beach, at the same time as Super Tunia Honey, and these are the ones that are thriving. They are like trailing down the sides. They are absolutely gorgeous, to be honest, and no deadheading necessary. The leaves are super happy for the most part. Again, I've probably got something chewing holes, but no big deal. And it's doing wonderful. And then planted in the center here is Verbena bonariensis. Verbena bonariensis is a perennial. I grew it from seed last year in this container, and I've got lots and lots of buds that are coming up. These are the only 2 flowers from Verbena bonariensis so far, but it's really getting some height. It's loving this like trellis structure, and I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. This is my purple planter for this summer. And this planter is another planter that I am so like excited and proud of doing. The center of this container is Liatris. I have never grown Liatris before, and my friend Stacy, she messaged me and said she had been growing it and wanted to know if I wanted some, and of course I said yes, but I had no idea where I was going to put it. I did tell her, will it grow in a container, because I don't have room in my landscape for it, or at least I don't think I do. And she said, I think it'll grow in a container. So we're going to try it out. We are going to see. And I think it's a striking centerpiece for that container, and it's going to be these beautiful purple spiky blooms. And then here is one of the zinnias that I put along with it. These are my double hot cherry zinnias, I believe. This is planted next to it on either side is dianthus. This is a type of sweet William, actually. Ooh, there's a tiny little grasshopper in there. Look at him. Ah! Those guys, he literally just chewed that hole that he's standing over. Anyway, this is a type of sweet William that is actually, I think it's called salmon. It's supposed to have beautiful salmon colored blooms. So I'm growing it this year. It will not bloom this year. That's just the nature of sweet William. And then next year it will give me beautiful, beautiful sweet William blooms. So I have one on each side. I have another Zahara or pinwheel zinnia, another one over there. I have these guys that are white. Again, these are Zaharas or pinwheels. And then in the very back, I have a regular Sweet William double mix. And so Sweet William, I just love to grow it every single year, just to add beautiful, beautiful color. And it's evergreen in nature here in North Texas for me as well. So I think that container combination is just lovely. Back behind this container, I do have some containers in my garden, and the reason that they are in containers is because this is a tough area. Plants that get planted here die, and so a lot of reasons for that. I have raccoons that sometimes come in and out from this space. My dogs then, as a result, tear up this space trying to run alongside the gate, the fence back there. It's a mess, and so I've put things in pots to protect them. I can still grow them, but they remain a little bit more protected from the raccoons coming, trampling all over things, and then also the dogs that are trying to chase the raccoons. Anyway, there is rosemary planted there, which is doing quite well. I have a Russian sage right down there. I'm gonna go down in there so you guys can see it. There was a dragonfly that was just on the Russian sage. This one is just beginning to put on its blooms. I have Russian sage in my garden that is beginning to bloom. And then this was a volunteer Rudbeckia. I grew Rudbeckia in this pot last year. So anyway, that's a volunteer that I'm letting grow. This is another Rudbeckia. This one I purposely grew from seed, and so I'm growing that right there for a pop of yellow. And then this is a new to me plant. I think I got it at 50% off at Callaway's. Maybe it was only 25% off. I don't remember, but it is the Opening Act Ultra Pink Phlox, which phlox can be a little tricky in our area. I have never grown this type of phlox before, but I have a neighbor in our neighborhood that has grown beautiful pink phlox, and I'm just like, well, it can be done, right? Let's try this one. And I'm hoping that it works well, that it does well, and it looks like it's doing okay. Yeah, it's putting on some new buds over there. These are newer buds. There's more buds to come, so I think it's doing pretty well so far. And then planted right next to it is a tall variety of zinnia called Double Violet Queen. I saved these seeds from previous years, and I just love this zinnia. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's really, really taking over, so it's doing well. Coming back up to my porch, there are two little pots here. So this is what I was telling you guys about. This is Louisia, that succulent that I grew from seeds. I got the seeds at Baker's Creek Heirloom Seeds, and this one has definitely done the best out of all of them that I have grown. There's seedlings all over the place. I lost one here. I just lost this one. I think I'm about to lose that one, but I have these three that are hanging on, and this one that's actually doing well. And look at that flower. It's so pretty. I love it. But like I said, we'll see. I'm underwhelmed by this plant so far. So we'll just see how it goes this summer. Now this plant I am not underwhelmed with. I am so excited for this plant. This is a Kufia. This was a variety from All Stars, which is from Callaway's nursery, but they also call this particular variety of Kufia bat plant. And the reason is because the little flowers, they look like bats. So let me show you. This is so cool, y'all. Does that not look like a bat to you guys? I totally think it does. I think this is so fun, but the majority of the reason that I got this plant was because hummingbirds love Kufia. I've always wanted to grow a Kufia, and then when I saw a miniature version of Kufia that only costed me about $4 at Callaway's, I was like, okay. And it's fascinating because it's red and purple and looks like a bat. It's just unbelievable. So there's actually 2 of those planted in there, and they are just now kind of taking off, and I think they're going to be so gorgeous, and I hope that they bring all of the hummingbirds. And then here is that matching planter to the very first one that I showed you, and Chloe's kind of showing it off. It's the same thing. So we've got the Dallas Red Lantana, which is doing fabulous. We've got, these are the double Zahara Brilliant mix zinnias, and I guess you could say this orange variety is double. So that's fun. The others that I've gotten aren't. That yellow is definitely double, but the pink is definitely not double. It's okay. And then I've got the Verbena Florist mix, and it looks like I'm gonna have some buds, but like I said, something seems to be like, this one just doesn't look great. I don't know. I think something's eating it, honestly. But I've got 3 of those in there, and that container just is looking so lovely. So there is the curve area of my patio. I have 2 succulents in here. This is the Mr. Goodbud sedum, and these are hens and chicks. I actually grew these in very small containers that were on this Ferris wheel last year and the year before, and then I decided I was done doing that, and I put them all into this pot, which I actually really enjoy them so much more this way than in that Ferris wheel, and I think they're happier this way as well. So, and then gosh, look at that container, you guys. I love mounded, like overflowing mounded containers. I love that look. I'm not a huge like thriller container person, like, you know, something that's sticking up in the top, although I do that, but I really do love a good mounded container, and this container has given me just that. This is all Spice Boys basil. It is a dwarf variety of basil, and I got these seeds from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed, and it's just remarkable, and it smells so very good. And I have used it, and it tastes really good. It's just, oh my goodness, I love this. It's a basil that was bred specifically to be grown in containers like this, and it really does. Oh, just touching that and moving it around and smelling that, it's just, I love the smell of basil so much. And then moving on to this container, I just potted this one up yesterday as well, again, with just some things that I had left over. So this is definitely my double Zahara salmon zinnias that I grew, and those are also planted in my front, and I told you, like, this is one of my favorite varieties of zinnia for sure. They're so pretty. I love the ones that have the yellow touches, but I also love the ones that are brighter pink. Like, I don't know, this is stunning. It really is truly stunning. And I have planted it with Ageratum leda in the center. So Ageratum leda, when it starts blooming, it will give me these beautiful light blue blooms. I grew Ageratum leda last year, and it performed very well for me, and I think that's going to be stunning. So that picture is pretty stunning. Let me start with the Ferris wheel. This was like, it had a bunch of little tiny containers that had hens and chicks, but I decided to be done with that, and now it's going to be a trellis for these, which are butterfly peas, and I have 2 growing on each side, and this is the bloom that we currently have. This is my 4th bloom, but look, hold on. Look at that. It's such a beautiful bloom. It's not really quite even opened up yet, but I just love that color. It's like a fluorescent purple color. And then I am saving the blooms and drying them, because you can turn them into butterfly pea tea, and it will turn the tea blue, and then when you add something acidic like a pink lemonade, it turns it like pink and then purple or something like that. So I'm excited for that. And then this one's actually growing even better. It's grabbed on to the Ferris wheel up there, and it's growing like better and faster than that one is, which is weird because they're literally the same planters. They're the same fertilizing, they're the same watering, they're the same everything. I don't know. But this one also has given me like 3 blooms already. Currently, oh yeah, it is a bloom. Look at this. There is a baby bloom today, if I can get there. You see it? There it is. It's faced the other direction. I'm not going to get in there, but they are so pretty. I'm really excited for that. I think that trellis is going to look beautiful. It's going to be full of purple butterfly pea blooms. And then here is my desert rose, you guys, and I don't know how much longer I'm actually going to be talking about this desert rose, because I really do think that it is struggling. I tried to cut away the root rot last year, and I just did not cut all of it away, and it is just, there are parts of it that are spongy and other parts that are not. I truly just don't. The only way that I think I'm going to truly get rid of it is to cut this entire thing off. And I don't want to. I kind of don't want the plant if I have to do that. I may just start over with another desert rose. But I'm limping it along. I'm going to see if it survives. It does have, you know, some leaves, but the leaves don't get any bigger than this. They should be much bigger than this. And then it tried to bloom on me, and the buds fell off almost as soon as they were formed. So it's definitely struggling. It's definitely not doing well. And, you know, like I said, sometimes in gardening, we have our successes, we have our failures. That one has been a failure one for me, and it's all my fault, honestly. We live and we learn, right? So moving on, this is tomatoes. These are micro tomatoes. This variety is called Micro Tom, and it's got some that are forming already, and it's, you know, all over. So I'm excited. These are really, really cute, and they look great. They were bred they were bred to be grown in a container like that. So they're doing pretty well, I think. And then right over here, this is my Limelight Hydrangea Alley. And the reason that I call it Limelight Hydrangea Alley is because, for whatever reason, Limelight hydrangeas love the conditions that this particular lighting environment creates. I've tried to grow them many, many times in other locations in my garden, and they're either not enough light or too much light, and the ones with too much light definitely die. These ones don't, and believe it or not, they're west facing, so it does not get the sun coming up. I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess you could say it's west facing. It gets, you know, the late afternoon sun, but it only gets about 5 to 6 hours of that sun, and it just seems to really like it. And so let's see if we can find, no buds yet, but it's looking wonderful. That all 3 of these, there's 3 of them, are looking healthy and wonderful. And then there is a long planter that I have that is my Limelight Propagation station. So when I trim my Limelight hydrangeas, I prune them in late winter, early spring, and then I let the cuttings harden off on my patio for 2 weeks. I just leave them there, don't do anything to them. It dries them out, and then I stick them in this soil. And this is just how I propagate. They easily propagate this way. Not all of them will root, but as you can see, I've got quite a few of these in there. And by the end of the season, I'll probably have at least 1 or 2 that's rooted. And that's how I've created all of these, to be honest. Here as well, I've tried to propagate my candy corn spirea cuttings. So I have no idea if it's been successful yet. I'm just leaving them alone. I don't want to bother them, but I have a lot of these candy corn spirea cuttings that are in there as well. And then growing along with it, this is a mixture of blue forget-me-nots, which are blooming. Look how pretty those are. You guys, I love forget-me-nots. They only last like the springtime to early summer, and then they are done. They do not like the heat, but when they are blooming, they are striking, and there is nothing else like it. Really, truly, nothing else like it. But this year, I've also grown a pink variety of forget-me-nots, and this one is about to bloom. And so this is full of blue and pink. And I just have these two that are about to bloom. I think this is another pink one that's also about to bloom. So this is super fun. I think it looks great. And hopefully by the end of the season, we have some hydrangeas and or candy corn spirea babies. And then in this pot, I have dark opal purple basil. And, ooh, we've got some things eating it, don't we? Wah! It's grasshoppers or katydids. I have those all over. But it is such a beautiful basil. I love it so much. For me, it's more ornamental. I don't think I've cooked with it before, but my neighbor Aida, she was over like last week and she just popped a leaf right into her mouth. She's like, oh, it's so delicious. So I'm sure it could be used for cooking. I use it more for ornamental purposes. I think it's just lovely, and I grew those from seed as well. And then we're coming up to the end, I promise. I have this lovely Confederate star jasmine that is climbing up this pole or beam, and it's planted in this planter as well. I have some variegated vinca. I have some Terrenia. I've never grown Terrenia before, and I picked up 2 pink Terrenia at Callaway's. They love part sun / shade, which is exactly what this planter is, and they have just not done well. They have not done very well. First time growing Terrenia, and I heard that it's very heat tolerant and drought tolerant, but so far my Terrenia have just not done that well. And then I have more of that dark opal purple basil there. So that's that one. Let me show you this one over here. This is my Fairy Trail Fresco hydrangea. It's a brand new variety from Proven Winners. It's a cascading variety of hydrangea, and it has struggled a bit, but then again, I bought it as a teeny tiny quart size. I don't recommend doing that for shrubs. I will not make that mistake again. I have babied all of the quart size shrubs that I ordered from Proven Winners Direct last year. They all have needed to be babied, and I didn't know if I was gonna be able to save any of them at some point, but they're doing good now. It is flowering. I've had a really tough time with chlorosis with this one, so I have been using Proven Winners water soluble fertilizer, which has chelated iron in it, but I need to give it an actual dose of chelated iron, which I do have. So I think that's exactly what it needs. I also have hit it with so much soil acidifier to try to make the blooms blue, and that has not been successful yet. But anyway, I do think it's lovely. I am glad that I have been able to keep it alive. Eventually, I'm hoping this will be a hanging basket, which is why it's in a hanging basket. I want it to hang and cascade and just be this magnificent, hydrangea that's trailing over the sides of the basket. But right now, it's kind of needing to be babied, so I'm not hanging it up because I know it won't get the care that it needs. But speaking of hanging baskets, look. Oh my goodness. I got these new hanging baskets on Amazon. They come, I believe, in a set of 3 or 4, or no, I'm sorry. They come in sets of 2. So I ordered 2 sets of 2 because I needed 3 hanging basket planters. And that's why you see I have that extra one down below with the hydrangeas in it. But in this basket, I have an autumn fern, which that was strategic for me, and I wanted to see if this would work. So many people here in North Texas, they buy, the Boston ferns to go inside of their hanging baskets. The Boston ferns are not, they're not winter hardy here, and so they die unless you take them inside. And when you take ferns inside, they are so incredibly messy. That was not an option for me, and I want something here that's going to survive. So autumn fern has done amazingly in my garden, and I thought, why couldn't I put that into a hanging basket instead of a Boston fern? Why don't people do that already? I don't know. So I put a baby autumn fern in this basket, and it's doing fabulous, you guys. I have another one on this side that is also doing fabulous. And I do think I'm going to, wow, look at that. It's so beautiful. I'm so happy. I do think I'm going to take these down and you know, put them against like one of my walls back there or something like that to keep them a little more protected in the winter time, just to be sure they survive. But I mean, they're doing beautifully so far. I think that's going to work really well, and then they'll come back next year without me having to bring them inside. And then this one is a begonia. They were $12.99 at Sam's Club, and so I bought one, and it's already, I think, doubled in size. It looks so incredibly beautiful there. And I love these hanging baskets, by the way. They do have drainage, even though it doesn't appear that way. They are actual wicker, and so the water just drains right out of them, and they are lovely. I highly recommend them. But anyway, there's my hanging baskets. And then let me just show you some of the containers that are dotted throughout my landscape, throughout my gardens. This is my shade garden. And so I have hostas that are in containers over here, and they are doing really, really well. Some people say you can't grow hostas here in Texas, but my experience so far has been very, very good. They need full shade though, I think. I really do think that's the trick. And then the containers, you know, with our clay soil, I don't think hostas love that clay soil, so they're in containers, and I think they really do love life that way. This one isn't quite as big, but it's coming along beautifully. Let's see. Okay, so this is Proven Winners Shadowland Diamond Lake. It's kind of like a Blue Elegans kind of hosta. This is Proven Winners Shadowland Woo La La. This is Blue Label is the brand, and it is an Elabroa Costa. It's striking. It's so beautiful. And then this guy is my other Blue Elegans. This is Blue Label variety Blue Elegans hosta, and the snails are just ravaging it. I keep forgetting to purchase logo, so I need to do that. That's like a snail bait that I will put down in that container, and that should take care of those snails. But those are the 4 containers that I have in my shade garden. And then I do have a container that's almost hidden by Russian sage. This is a large terracotta container that has an Alexandrina magnolia tree in it. I got that for free from a promotion for Arbor Day. I think one of the energy companies was giving them away, and I signed up and I got it, and it's doing lovely. And then on the other side of my shed, I have another terracotta pot, and this one has a Japanese maple. This is an Orangeola Japanese maple. I have always wanted one. I finally have one. This is just potted last October, so it's been in this pot for what, less than, what would you say, 7 months or so? And it's just doing fabulous. It is a weeping habit, and this foliage is just absolutely striking. It's just, I just love this. I love it so, so much. It has this overhead tree canopy to provide it the shade that it wants and needs, and it's just doing lovely. I'm so, so happy to have this. And then coming over here, there's another terracotta pot that you can't even see anymore in my full sun garden. And it has a standard limelight hydrangea that is in there. I've been training it to be a standard, so it does take a couple years to do that. This is its third year, to be honest, and it's a whole process, y'all. There is a tomato cage around that to keep its stability and to keep it upright, but it's doing pretty well. This is one of the areas that my limelight hydrangeas tend to die off because it is full sun. So we will just see how that goes. That yarrow is planted in the ground, and it is starting to overtake that container. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do about that. I did not anticipate the yarrow growing 3.5 feet tall there. So yeah, we're gonna figure that out. But planted inside of this container, you can see that is that pink is a dwarf phlox that I grew from seed that's just now starting to bloom. That purple is sugar star phlox that my friend Kendall gave me. She grew that from seed as well. And you can see it's got all kinds of little purple flowers all over the place there. I do have, this is a Super Bina. What is that? It's the pink one. Hang on. It is this Super Bina Sparkling Rose. And again, it's a little underwhelming. It is not in bloom at all, although it is spreading. It is looking quite well, but I don't even see Is that an old bud or a new bud? I think that's a new bud. No, I think those are old buds, to be honest. There's a new bud that's starting right there, but it's just been a little underwhelming. I have Super Bina Sparkling Amethyst. That has been my experience with Super Bina so far. The Sparkling Amethyst is phenomenal. It is a phenomenal plant because it just keeps blooming, 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 never without blooms. And then the other Super Vinas, the Cobalt and the Sparkling Rose, so far for me have just not done it for me. It's just not. But anyway, I have, you know, dwarf phlox all over the place back there. I have Blue Days of Volvulus. Let me get in on this side. I can barely get into my garden anymore because my ground cover has taken over, which I wanted it to do. But there is the Blue Days of Volvulus doing pretty well. And then this is so fun. I wonder if it's going to survive. It feels like it's struggling, but this is a poppy. I forget the name of the poppy. I will pop it on the screen. It's getting ready to bloom. I know this is way later than poppies normally bloom, but yeah, it was grown from seed. I grew it too late. I know now you've got to start the seeds in fall if you want it to bloom in the spring when it's supposed to bloom. But it is going to bloom there, I think, and it's going to do quite well. I love that. They're going to be these like beautiful pink or rose color. So there you go. All right, and I believe that's it. You guys just looked at over 60 containers throughout my front and my backyard gardens. I hope that you have gained some inspiration from all of this, and I hope that you'll comment down below. Tell me what you're growing in containers. Tell me what you're excited about for this season, and I hope that if you liked what you saw today that you'll subscribe to my channel. You will see these container garden updates all throughout the summer and fall season, and I also do backyard garden tours, front yard garden tours, and all kinds of plant videos all along and in between. So anyway, I thank you so very much for watching today. You guys are just amazing, and I cannot believe the support that all of you have given me, and I just thank you so, so much. I hope each and every one of you has a beautiful day today. Bye-bye, everybody.